I would really like to talk about your live stream.
You're gonna have to redact that, or we're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
Oh, so we have to bleep that. Okay, you created a... Wait, is also a copyright that they have? Tell me about your self-motivated decision.
Just bleep it. Just say just
bleep. Like your
I would like to say so please just make it as stupid as possible.
I'm Sam Sutherland, and this is Extremely Online, a show about the internet made over the internet. Metal is a genre born of diverse influences and points of view, but its mainstream image has always been very macho.
Metal was heavy, and then it got weird, and then it got really gay in the 80s. Hair metal was as flamboyant as you could get, but these were still manly men.
Where did you get this, spike shit? You got it from Rob Halford. Who got it from Gay Leather Daddies? Because Gay Leather Daddies rule. Stop with your macho bull.
At best, hyper-masculine posturing is exclusionary. At worst, it's deadly. Norwegian black metal is famously violent in this deeply fetishized way. You know, people associate black metal with church burnings and, a guy who unfortunately died by suicide, and then other members of his band made his brain and they used it as a cover for an EP. One of the primary crimes in the history of black metal is Faust murdering a gay man in Lillehammer, in a known cruising spot. He went to jail, he did his time, and then he came out, and he still gets invited to play with his band. It's baffling. It's very dark, and it's very upsetting. But in the past few years, a new wave of bands has emerged to challenge that narrative. A dedicated queer metal community.
Left-wing, far-left, radical politics has always had its place in heavy metal. Rob Halford's a very proud gay man. And Black Sabbath wrote the song War Pigs, which it's not about friendly cops. You know what I mean?
People putting the hard work in for so many years has created this foundation for people like us now to express ourselves without fear of repercussions. And that has been just a long, hard struggle.
People who listen to pop music or listen to punk rock or folk music or their parents' music because they thought that heavy bands couldn't be for them because it's so masculine, those are who our peers are.
Metal is usually defined by these regional scenes. You think of Bay Area thrash and Metallica, and you think of South Florida death metal and death. Queer metal has emerged not so much as a physical scene as an online one.
When we started as a band, we didn't try to play metal shows. We tried to play shows with our, what we viewed as our community and people we would feel safe and comfortable around. It was always a noise act, and then a queer core pop punk band, and then us being very loud at the end with a lot of very confused people. In the last 6-7 years from the start...
Hi!
Oh no. From the start of us being a band to now, the internet's definitely done a great job of helping us find our community so that we can go from being a band that just wanted to play with people we felt great around to playing with amazing metal bands all the time and finding our own, not only just comfortable community, but a metal community that cares. And that's a huge difference.
I would say there's two communities. Where we're from, the New Jersey metal scene is very tight-knit, we really pump each other up. But then any marginalized folks who are into slow headbanging and fat riffs, we connect online, and there's different Facebook groups and stuff. We send each other merch, we send each other bands, we try to meet up at shows. It's amazing being able to have the similar artist buttons and stuff, and noticing that all of them are a bunch of weirdos. It warms my heart.
For the privileged amongst us, it can be hard to imagine not feeling welcome anywhere, anytime. But the fact of the matter is that even subcultures that are supposed to be progressive, that are supposed to be models of inclusivity, those places can be just as exclusionary and just as dangerous and just as as anywhere else in the world.
I remember one time in Chicago, would load in, everyone's oh, nice to meet you, cool, everyone's cool. The band was cool. And then and we hear them like as they're loading up their like on stage, like talking about like trans people. They're talking about bathroom bills and like that affects like us, like making jokes. I know I can take a joke, like, but after a while, trans people being the butt of jokes is like can contribute to violence, and like it's dangerous.
This, for lack of sounding like an idiot, feels important in a really cool way. Metal is a place that has harbored shitty fucking people for such a long time. It's when it is the people in this room and the bands on this festival that make metal what it is, the real fucking voice of anti-fascism.
The possibility for me opened up to like realize like who I could be, because I saw people who I like admired like being in this community, rather than like, you know, like rainbow flag waving pride stuff, which was never my thing. Too peppy.
I'm just always gonna be authentically me. Either like a stupid homophobe who wants to say "fuck you, queer," or someone on the flip side of it saying, "Oh, you're not being queer enough because you're super masculine or you're super this and you're being." It's all just dumb.
One of the great things about bands like Vile Creature and Sunrot is the way that they let a wider array of people see themselves in metal. And not only that, but that there are other ways to be a participant in the larger LGBTQ2 community.
People who reach out that are like trans or non-binary, which is amazing. And then tell us, you know, they like the representation means a lot. Like some of the most amazing things I've heard is like, you've helped me through like a suicidal, like depressive episode. You know, it could span age, race, gender, it doesn't matter. It's just somebody who's in pain has listened to our music and it's helped them. Like, it's fucking amazing.
We get messages like quite often, like people just reaching out to us like from who knows where, expressing that they're happy that we exist, and that feels really validating and good. So I am just happy that it has helped people along the way.
One of my roommates that I was living with at the time, they were like, hey, so there's like this really rad queer doom band and I love them and I think you'd love them too. And I was like, oh yeah, they're pretty sick. And I like the fact that they're queer, and I sent them a DM on Twitter and I was just like, hey, you're pretty rad and I'd like to work with you. And they're like, yeah, that's cool.
So it was that easy. Is it different when you sort of had that opportunity to sort of bond first in the DMs and then finally get an in-person introduction?
I feel like there's a sense of comfort there between people, you know, and knowing like where people stand. I've made a t-shirt for them with somebody with horns. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I made a cat calendar for them.
What was the artwork that you made or the poster that you made for the Choose Your Own Adventure, which we may have to bleep me saying Choose Your Own Adventure?
We made 5 different ones. We made one that was Goosebumps, based on The Haunted Mask. We made another one based off of a Led Zeppelin 70s poster. I took pictures of all their cats and their dog, kind of like a punk flyer type of thing.
Being a queer doom metal band doesn't just mean shouldering the expectations of representing an entire community both online and on tour by an oppressive culture and media apparatus. It also means being sued by children's book publishers.
Our label, Prosthetic Records, really wanted us to do a live concert event or like a live stream. We wanted to make it as close to a concert as you could possibly get it. We played our record start to finish. We filmed it from 13 different angles. The website worked where you went through a adventure thing to get to the show, and then you were welcomed by a door guy.
Give me $7, okay?
You could talk to people while you waited for doors. And then when the show started, you were showed a master cut, and then you could click through to every individual feed, so you could just go around and move around the venue as you pleased and watch the show as you wanted. We put out our thing that we're doing a live stream, and we got a cease and desist from ChooseCo, who owns Choose Your Own Adventure, Take Your Own Path, and a couple others. They're the people who sued Netflix over Bandersnatch. Apparently, they are the single most litigious company. So
Okay, so you created a
immersive, interactive live stream.
Perfect.
We pre-filmed a bunch of things, including our merch guy. So we filmed a 6-minute loop of him just checking his phone and eating cupcakes over it and wiping off the crumbs. We had a cigarette break cam where you could go outside, and it was a video of a bunch of people smoking cigarettes and then subtitles of them talking us. There was stage left, stage right. There was side stage. There was a tall person standing in front of you camera.
I would do just about anything to be mad at a tall person at a show right now. I would do terrible things.
As goofy and strange as it was, being able to go to shows is incredibly important, and not being able to do that during this period of time has been significantly difficult for fans and bands alike. And I was just like, this is so emblematic of like the experience of going to a show, and they nailed it, and it made me kind of teary, actually.
Hopefully, what bands like Vile Creature and Sunrot are able to do in creating more open and inclusive online music communities is encourage their real-life counterparts, actual music scenes in actual cities, to themselves become more open and inclusive. And one of the most inspiring things about this story is that because of bands like Vile Creature and Sunrot, that's actually happening. It's happening already.
We played a show in Middle America. Literally, it was the first time we were ever there. It was like a Tuesday at a dive bar, and a bunch of folks with like little trans flags and stuff come to our show, and we're like, "What? This is f***ing great," you know? And like they heard of us online, you know?
Along the way, we've gotten so much encouragement from people who have listened to our music and have related to it, and from there we've been able to play radder shows, and we've been able to go to Europe, and the record showed up on the Billboard charts. And it's really great that there are so many queers and rad people, or people who support queers, that enjoy our art and get something out of it. We owe a lot of that to our music being spread to a community that has thrived on the internet.
It's incredible to be actively participating in something where I feel like it opens a lot of doors for people that maybe felt like they didn't have an opportunity before. With Vile Creature and all these other bands as well, like, I feel like it sends a clear, direct message like, hey, we're carving out a space for ourselves, and, you know, like, that's it. Deal with it.
I remember we played in a coffee house that was connected to a cop station.
Is that real, or is that like a sitcom pilot?
Like, have you listened to our songs? Like, you want us to play next to a bunch of cops? Like, this isn't fun for anyone.